I'm Claire Morgan. I've been the emotional first responder of my family for 30 years. But last Monday, while I was slicing onions for dinner, my phone buzzed with a message from my sister, Vanessa. One line: "Hope you understand." An hour later, I found out I wasn't invited to her wedding. No explanation, no apology, just a scrolling Instagram story of digital invitations. Her guest list glowing in gold. Coworkers, college friends, even strangers I barely knew. But not me. Not the sister who once paid her tuition. When I asked Mom why, she said, there weren't enough seats. Turns out I was never meant to have one. I didn't beg. I didn't protest. I packed a suitcase. 3 days later, while they were finalizing wedding plans, I was boarding a plane to paradise. No RSVP, just a one-way ticket to peace. If you've ever been the one who gave everything, only to be forgotten when it mattered most, this story is for you. Share your moment in the comments. Like this video if you've ever walked away from people who only showed up when it was convenient. Subscribe, because healing doesn't always look like revenge. Sometimes it looks like disappearing, and finally being found by yourself. I was slicing red onions for dinner when the message came through. A short vibration, one line on the screen. "Hope you understand." It was from Vanessa. I frowned, wiping my hands on a towel. Understand what? I clicked on her name, but there was no follow-up. Just that. It was Monday evening, June 3rd. I had just returned from work. The air in Portland muggy with the kind of heat that made you feel like your breath wasn't quite yours. My apartment was quiet. Too quiet. I had music playing softly in the background, but even that felt distant. I walked over to the sofa, sat down with the phone in my palm like it had stung me. Something felt off. I pulled up Vanessa's Instagram story, and that's when I saw it. A champagne-colored digital invite, scrolling list of attendees, tagged names floating across a golden backdrop. Vanessa and Ethan, June 10th, wedding of the year, and I wasn't there. I scrolled slower, my stomach tightening with every swipe. Colleagues, high school friends, even that girl she hated in college for stealing her scarf, they were all there. But not me. Not Claire Morgan. Not the sister who had once driven through a snowstorm just to bring her ginger tea when she was sick with the flu. I dialed Mom. She picked up on the second ring, her voice as composed as ever. "Claire, sweetie." "I saw the invite list," I said, skipping past any pretense. "Vanessa's wedding. I'm not on it." A pause. Then, "There weren't enough seats, honey." I stared at the wall, lips parted but no words coming out. "Excuse me?" You know how these venues are. Very limited capacity. Vanessa said it was such a tough decision. You have to understand. The room pulsed with a kind of silence I wasn't used to, one that wasn't mine. I paced back toward the kitchen, the knife still on the cutting board beside a half-diced tomato. "You're saying I can't attend my own sister's wedding because... What, she overbooked?" I asked, my voice still level, but my chest hollowed out. "Oh, Claire, don't be dramatic," Mom sighed. "It's just one day. Don't ruin it. Vanessa's under a lot of stress. You know how brides are. Be the bigger person." I closed my eyes. Be the bigger person. Like I had been the bigger person when I loaned Vanessa $12,000 for tuition. Like I had been when she broke down after her second breakup, and I let her stay on my couch for 2 months. Rent-free. When I skipped promotions at work because Mom needed help caregiving after her knee surgery. I said nothing. Just ended the call. Then I opened my notes app and began typing. Things I've done for them. Paid Vanessa's tuition. Picked her up from bars at 1 a.m. Bailed her out of credit card debt. Covered for her when she missed Grandma's funeral. The list grew longer than I expected. I took a step back from the counter, gripping the edge. In front of me, the phone still glowed with Vanessa's message. Behind me, a drawer filled with memories, photos, cards, even the letter Vanessa wrote me in 6th grade saying, "You're the best sister ever." I breathed out through my nose, slow. If there was no seat for me at their table, I walked into my bedroom, powered on my laptop, and typed into the search bar, "Luxury Ocean Resorts last minute June." It was time to disappear. On my terms. If there was no seat for me at their table, I'd find a better view. They thought I'd stay home sulking. I was sipping champagne at 30,000 feet. The fizz of the drink tickled my nose as I leaned back into the plush seat. A gentle clink sounded as the stewardess refilled my glass without asking. I gave her a nod and turned back to the clouds drifting by outside the window. Somewhere beneath me, Portland shrank into a dot. Somewhere above me, I had never felt lighter. I had never booked a flight so quickly in my life. June 5th, 2 days after Vanessa's text. No second thoughts, no hesitation. Just a one-way ticket to Nassau and a suite at Solara Blue, a resort that looked like heaven and felt like a soft middle finger wrapped in silk. Before we took off, I snapped a photo of my boarding pass resting against the champagne glass. I posted it with the caption, "Didn't make the guest list, but I made a better one." The response came instantly. Daniel, our cousin who always had a rogue sense of humor, commented, "Savage. Also, where's my invite?" Lily dropped A in a single word. Finally. I hadn't spoken to either of them in months, but that moment, their silent understanding felt like a balm on a very old bruise. Landing was like exhaling for the first time in weeks. The heat wrapped around me, thick with salt and flowers. At Solara Blue, the lobby was open air, letting in the breeze, and I swear even the scent of the place whispered, "You deserve this." My room overlooked the water, a glass balcony facing an uninterrupted view of the ocean. I kicked off my shoes and let my bare feet sink into the soft rug. No shoes, no timeline, no expectations. The first evening blurred into gold. A cocktail was waiting in my hand before I asked. The bartender had a smile that didn't expect anything from me. I watched the sun dip into the water like it was trying to apologize for ever rising in Portland. I thought about Vanessa. How she used to cry about everything. Over boys, grades, a chipped nail. And I was always there. With the glue. The duct tape. The silence. I remembered one night when she broke down over a C+ in organic chemistry. I stayed up all night rewriting her notes and quizzing her before her retake. She passed. She thanked me once, vaguely, then never mentioned it again. I sat on my balcony as the sky turned purple and let the memories pass like waves. But guilt? Number for once, I didn't feel that. Not even when my phone buzzed. It was Mom. "Are you seriously missing Vanessa's wedding over this?" I didn't respond. Instead, I walked back inside, grabbed my phone, and took a shot of the ocean from the balcony. No filters, just endless blue and a drink in hand. I posted it with a caption, "Skipping, number escaping." Then I did something I should have done years ago. I switched my phone to Do Not Disturb and set it face down on the table. The mojito was sweet, minty, and unapologetically strong. I sipped it slowly, letting every drop rewrite a little piece of who I was. In my notes app, I began typing. Why I left before they noticed I was gone. Not for them. For me. The breeze curled around me like a silk scarf, and for the first time in a long time, I wasn't trying to be anything for anyone else. Claire switched her phone to Do Not Disturb, finishes her mojito. They uninvited me from their celebration. The universe RSVP'd in kind. The ice in my glass clinked softly as I tilted it toward my lips, condensation rolling lazily down the side. The pool shimmered under the late morning sun, and somewhere in the distance, waves lapped at the shore like a lullaby I never got to keep. June 8th. Their big day. Mine too. But for very different reasons. I stretched out on the lounge chair, one arm shading my face. The resort was quiet today, unusually serene. The kind of silence that doesn't demand anything from you. Not your presence, not your permission, not even your grief. And then my phone began to vibrate. Again, 32 missed calls. The numbers blurred together. Mom, Vanessa, Aunt Marlene, even Uncle Ted. I hadn't spoken to him since he told me college is wasted on girls like you. The screen lit up once more, this time a message from Lily. Lily. Groom left. Huge fight. Grandma roasted everyone. It's chaos. I blinked, read it again, and then again. My thumb hovered over the keyboard, unsure whether to laugh or scream. But before I could type anything, a voicemail popped in. Mom. Claire, your sister is falling apart. What you're doing is cruel. I don't know what got into you lately, but this isn't you. You don't turn your back on family. Come home, please. I didn't press play again. I didn't need to. The next message was from Vanessa. A voice note. I tapped it. Her voice, usually sugar-laced and performative, now cracked and trembling. I messed up, okay? I don't know what happened. I just wanted things to be perfect. Please, Claire, I need you. I can't do this without you. I don't know who else to call. She didn't say sorry, just, I need you. I stared at the sky, letting her words swirl like smoke before they dissolved. Then my playlist skipped to an old lullaby, the kind Mom used to hum to put me to sleep while Vanessa screamed for attention from the next room. I hadn't heard that song in years. Maybe not since I was 10. I froze. That ache. It came back like muscle memory. For a moment, I let the sound wash over me, soft as velvet. Eyes closed, breathing shallow. But just for a moment. I took out my earbuds, tapped the screen once, deleted the voicemail, deleted the voice note. I sat up slowly, the towel warm under my palms. Around me, life at Solara Blue continued. Drinks being served, children laughing at the edge of the pool, an older couple sharing a book in the shade. No one was crying. No one was asking me to be someone I'd already outgrown. Opening my phone again, I pulled up the resort's booking app. The screen reflected sunlight, so I angled it just right. I could see my own faint silhouette, calm and steady. I tapped the option. Extend stay by 3 nights. The confirmation sound was soft, almost kind, like someone whispering, "You did enough." Claire opens the ticket booking app, clicks, extend stay by 3 nights. They cut me off like I was nothing. Now they act like I'm everything. The waves rolled in quietly, like they knew I needed a gentler rhythm today. I lay back in the cabana, a slice of mango resting on the rim of my glass, the breeze lifting the sheer white curtains that framed my small, perfect world. Solara Blue had become more than a resort. It was a buffer, a place that softened every blow life tried to deliver. I hadn't checked my messages in hours. The peace was intoxicating, and I wasn't ready to come down. But curiosity has its way. When I finally picked up the phone, the red dot on my voicemail blinked like a pulse I didn't want to claim. I hesitated, just long enough to pretend I had a choice. Then pressed play. "Claire, this is not the time to play games," my mother's voice began, tight, clipped. "Your sister is devastated. The whole family's unraveling. You're acting like a stranger." Pause. Then her tone shifted, cracked. "Please, Claire, sweetheart. We need you. I know things weren't handled well, but this is your family. Come home. Please." I didn't flinch. The next message was a text. Vanessa. "I never realized how much I needed you, until you weren't there." I stared at her words. The same fingers that had typed, "Hope you understand," now trembled with regret. I wondered how many drafts she went through before landing on that one sentence. I wondered if she meant any of it. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened the message from Lily. Lily. "Heads up. Your mom is flying to Portland on Thursday. She said she's going to wait at your house if she has to." Of course she would. That house, my little rental, full of secondhand furniture and solo grocery trips, suddenly mattered to her. For years, it was just Claire's place. Now it was a headquarters. I watched a group of honeymooners giggle past the cabana, arms tangled, sunscreen half applied. Their laughter didn't hit me like it used to. Not sharp, not envious, just distant. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Vanessa. No new words, just a series of question marks. I took a sip from my drink, let the silence settle in my chest, then typed back to Lily. Tell them I'm not coming back. Maybe not ever. I didn't hit send right away. My thumb lingered over the screen, trembling slightly. But it wasn't fear. It was relief. The kind that fills you when you realize you're not lost, just finally choosing your own direction. I hit send. Then I opened my contacts. Janice Morgan, delete. Vanessa Morgan, delete. Aunt Grace, delete. Uncle Mark, delete. One by one, I erased them from my phone. Not from my memory, but from my access. I opened the Notes app, found the draft I'd started on the plane. Cutfromthelist.com. First post, uninvited, undone, unbothered. I didn't write anything more today, but I knew the words were waiting. Claire opens her phone, deleting each contact. Her mother, Vanessa, her aunt, and uncle. The lies came down like waves, but the truth was deeper. The sun wasn't up yet, not fully. It hovered behind the clouds like it too. Wasn't sure if it wanted to show up for the day. I wrapped the soft white robe tighter around me and stepped out onto the balcony, barefoot, coffee in hand, the ocean breathing steady below. Breakfast hadn't arrived yet, but I didn't mind. The silence was filling. The phone rang. Lily. Claire, she said without even a hello. You need to hear this. I pulled the chair out and sat down slowly. Her voice was sharp but trembling, like someone holding a fragile truth with both hands. They had a meeting, she said. Grandma Jean called it. Just now. At Mom's house. I said nothing. Claire, she told everyone about the tuition. My grip on the coffee cup stilled. The breeze stirred my hair, but my heartbeat drowned everything. She said you paid it. All of it. Vanessa's last year. Everyone just sat there. I know, I whispered, not meaning to say it out loud. Vanessa didn't, Lily said. She turned pale. She kept saying, that's not true. Mom said I got a scholarship, that I made it on my own. She looked broken. I could almost see it. Vanessa's world rearranging, the foundation shaking. She called Janice right there in front of us, Lily added, put her on speaker, asked her straight out. Your mom said, and I quote, it was Claire's choice. No one forced her. Why dredge up old things? That part didn't surprise me. Janice had always been the queen of reframing cruelty as grace. I leaned back in my chair and looked out at the horizon. The truth was out. But the wound? That had been carved years ago. I wasn't angry. Not exactly. I was distant from it all. Like watching a rerun with the sound turned down. The only thing I could feel, clearly and cleanly, was this. I no longer expected an apology. Not from Janice, not from Vanessa. The text arrived a few minutes later. A voice message from Vanessa. I waited before opening it, unsure if I wanted to hear whatever version of guilt she had prepared. But eventually, I tapped play. Her voice was hoarse, already mid-sob. I didn't know, Claire. I didn't know. I'm so sorry. I thought I'd earned it. That I'd done it all on my own. And now, I don't know who I am. I feel like everything's fake. I'm fake. You were always there, and I didn't even say thank you. Please, I need you. I miss you. I'm sorry. I listened once. I didn't replay it. Instead, I opened my photo library. 10 years of birthdays, Thanksgivings, graduations, and awkward forced smiles. Family trips I paid for. Celebrations I organized. Moments I documented, because someone had to. I scrolled through slowly. My thumb hovered over each memory, then tapped, select all, delete, confirm, gone. Back in notes, my cursor blinked under the blog's first title. The Price of Being the Quiet One. For the first time in years, my story would be mine, and I'd tell it. Not as their sister, their daughter, their fixer. Just Claire. Claire listens to the recording, then goes to her photo library, deletes all the family photos from the past 10 years. They thought they could erase me, but I was never theirs to remove. The sea shimmered like a secret, unfolding gently beneath the yacht's curved shadow. The morning light was warm but not harsh, the kind that caressed instead of burned. I stood barefoot at the edge of the deck, the wind teasing loose strands of hair, the taste of salt lingering on my lips. June 12th. The anniversary of nothing and everything. I'd booked the private cruise last night, half on a whim, half on instinct. No audience. No party. Just me, a bottle of white wine, and the sound of soft music playing from the captain's little speaker below. The sea had a rhythm to it, like my own thoughts. Quiet, pulsing, alive. I pulled out my phone and refreshed the homepage of cutfromthelist.com. There it was. The first post. You don't need to be on their list to matter. Make your own. I read it again, not to revise, but to remember. My phone buzzed. A single message. Lily, you did the right thing. For real. I didn't smile right away. Not because it didn't matter, but because I was learning how to let good things settle in, without rushing to thank or deflect or apologize. I typed back slowly. Tell Grandma I'm okay. The rest doesn't matter. I hit send and slipped the phone into my tote bag, right next to my paperback and sunscreen. It didn't buzz again. Vanessa and Janice were no longer in my contacts. Their digital ghosts, deleted. Their voices, off the loop. There would be no more texts, no more guilt-dipped invitations, no more half-hearted apologies that expected me to hold the pieces. They'd had their party. Now I had my piece. I raised my glass, not high, not dramatic. Just enough to toast the wind, the waves, the version of me that finally stopped waiting for a seat at someone else's table. The wine was crisp and clean, like morning air after a storm. The boat curved along the island's edge, soft music drifting behind me. I closed my eyes for a moment and let the breeze wrap around my shoulders. I didn't think of them. I didn't think of who I used to be. I thought of nothing, and it felt like everything. I picked up my phone one last time, not to check messages, but to switch it off. Completely. The screen dimmed. The sea didn't. The wind pulled through my hair as I leaned into the moment. No plans, no apologies, no return. For the first time, I didn't feel like I needed to go home. She hangs up the phone, the sea breeze whipping through her hair. And for the first time, Claire doesn't feel like she needs to go home. They erased her name from an invitation, but not from her own story. What began as exclusion ended with liberation, not by confrontation, but through silent clarity that spoke louder than any apology. Claire Morgan had always been the invisible glue, the eldest daughter who absorbed every chaos, every crisis, and every emotional debt without interest. When her sister Vanessa fell apart, it was Claire who cleaned up the mess. When their mother, Janice, needed order, it was Claire who sacrificed. But love given in silence is often mistaken for absence. And absence is easy to ignore, until it echoes. The day her name was left off the wedding guest list, Claire didn't cry. She didn't argue. She didn't beg for a seat at a table where she was never truly seen. She simply stepped away. Not out of spite, but out of necessity. For the first time, Claire chose herself. At 30,000 feet with a glass of champagne in hand, she began her quiet rebellion. Not the kind made of noise and spectacle, but the kind made of decisions, of peace reclaimed, of dignity restored. At Solara Blue, beneath a gentle sun and waves that remembered no names, she deleted voicemails that once held her hostage. Every missed call, every guilt-laced plea was met with silence. They had underestimated her absence. Vanessa had built her wedding day on the illusion that Claire would be there, just like always, fixing what broke. But when the groom walked out, when Grandma Jean exposed the truth, and when the perfect facade shattered, Claire did not return. She was no longer the fixer. She was free. And then came the voice messages. Not of anger, but of collapse. Vanessa's sobs, Janice's gaslighting disguised as maternal concern, and relatives suddenly remembering her name. "We need you," they said. But what they meant was, "We need the version of you that once sacrificed herself for our comfort." Claire had already buried that version by the sea. The truth came like waves, steady, deep, and impossible to ignore. When Vanessa learned Claire paid her tuition, it wasn't gratitude she felt first. It was shame. The kind that comes when you realize the person you looked down on was the only one holding you up. Janice, cornered by facts, responded with denial, the last refuge of those who fear accountability. But Claire didn't want revenge. What she wanted was silence, the kind that heals. She found it in the rhythm of waves, in the clink of wine glasses on a private cruise, and in the blank page of her new blog, cutfromthelist.com. Her first post didn't seek pity. It declared independence. Justice doesn't always come with gavel strikes or public apologies. Sometimes it arrives quietly. As a woman finally sleeping through the night, phone on, do not disturb. Claire learned what so many forget. Love that demands silence is not love. Family that erases your name is not your tribe. And forgiveness without change is just another form of self-betrayal. She wasn't seeking closure. She was creating it. She walked away not because she stopped caring, but because she started caring about herself. That kind of choice isn't loud. It's not dramatic, but it's final. And it's powerful. To anyone who's ever been the overlooked sibling, the emotional crutch, the silent supporter, Claire's story is not just a victory. It's a reminder. A reminder that boundaries aren't cruelty, that silence can be strength, and that healing sometimes begins the moment you decide not to return the call. Let this be remembered. The ones we erase may someday become the ones we can't reach, no matter how loudly we call. Like the final chord of a long-forgotten melody, justice may arrive late. But when it echoes, it's unforgettable. No wall of lies can stand forever against the tide of truth. They erased my name from their invitation. But I didn't lose a family. I found my freedom. To anyone who's ever been left out, counted out, or quietly cast aside, you don't need their approval to belong. You don't need their table to be whole. Start your own story. Set your own boundaries. Build your own peace. Tell me, what moment finally made you walk away? Drop it in the comments. Like this video if you've ever chosen yourself, even when it hurt. And subscribe. Because next time they forget your worth, you'll remember this feeling. You are not invisible. You are becoming. Next story. My name is Elena Harper. 10 years. That's how long it's been since my family said my name aloud. And yet, it still hurts like they whisper it just to erase it. Most mornings, I pretend it doesn't matter. I pour my coffee. I run my meetings. I get things done. But this morning, an email slipped through. Brooks Family Reunion 2024, RSVP now. I wasn't on the list. Not by accident. Not by oversight. Just not there. I should have deleted it. Moved on. But then I checked something else. The family beach house. The one with my initials carved under the old bedroom window. Quietly listed for sale. No call. No vote. No signature from me. That's when I realized they weren't just moving on. They were scrubbing me out. Before I show you what I did next, before I show you the clause they forgot, the recording they never expected, and the day I made them say my name again, leave a comment if you've ever been erased by the people who should have known better. And hit like plus subscribe if you believe silence isn't peace. It's permission. Let me show you what happens when you stop waiting to be invited and start owning the keys. The waves glittered beyond the glass walls, sunlight stretching itself lazily across the Pacific. Santa Monica mornings always held that deceptive beauty, tranquil, crisp, promising. Inside the 11th floor office of Lasker and Hartman Consulting, where glass and chrome formed Elena Harper's professional shell, everything hummed with quiet efficiency. The scent of citrus cleaner, the rhythmic tap of keyboard strokes, and the low murmur of marketing analysts in cubicles. All reminders that here, at least, she existed. She mattered. She leaned back in her ergonomic chair, sipping lukewarm espresso from a white ceramic mug that read, "Strategy is my love language." It was a joke from Jenna, of course. Jenna, who never let birthdays go unnoticed, who texted cat memes and sarcasm daily, who reminded Elena she wasn't entirely alone. Her eyes drifted toward the lone turquoise seashell perched on a recessed shelf beside her desk. She hadn't touched it in years. Its ridged spiral was still perfect, but dulled under a soft veil of dust. A birthday gift, back when her mother would braid her hair and call her, "my special girl." Now, it sat forgotten, like she had been. Her monitor pinged,